I had a really interesting dream last night, and I think that really plays into Saturn retrograde, which, by the way, is from July 26th through December 10th of this year. I'm going to tell you this dream. Basically, an astrologer that I've followed since like the fall of 2021 had a child, and it looked a lot like Finn Wolford. If you follow Stranger Things, he was the character that played, I don't remember what his name was on the character, but he was a friend of Will Byers, the main character that went missing in the first season. And he was into astrology. He had a YouTube channel. It was like a pop astrology channel. He was like, had a name for his channel, like Liz something or other, and it has like, it was like a drag queen with like something, I don't know. Anyway, this astrologer was filming her weekly video. And, basically, he butted into the video and started screaming, misbehaving, getting all, very, very temperamental, very, very aggressive, very, very impulsive, and causing a lot of disruption. And this astrologer was saying, no, stop trying to control him. And so then I remember the next thing that I know, I was there, and he was just screaming and kicking. He was like 14 years old, 15 years old, and he was throwing a holy fit like a child. Being very, very difficult, causing trouble, just the whining and throwing a fit and making a scene was there quite obviously. And so that I remember going to church. It was kind of a blur, where he was dressed in like a suit, black tie, white shirt, kind of not appropriately dressed for how he was acting. But so then, at every turn, he was being difficult. He was kicking up, throwing a fit, or whatever. And there was all kinds of things going on where I remember this teacher that I knew, he was like saying something like, "We created a website for you, but then you deleted it. Then you got rid of it." And so it was just very, very spoiled and self-centered and in the ego. And I think that in that dream, I was confronted with that basically saying that my words and my voice for telling somebody to get out of their ego, and that they're in their ego, and that they need to not be in their ego and drop in and take a breath and be there. Like, I was experiencing a dream where my voice was being drowned out by the thunder that was his behavior. And my voice is only so powerful, and so strong and so loud, but I can't control what goes on, and I can't, try to win over things that that I don't believe in, that I disagree with, that I disapprove of, things that I don't like, things that I'm very, very much against. In terms of somebody acting very, very egoically. And, children are really, really egoic. I mean, how they act is really, really immature. And I think the lesson of that dream was like, you are only so powerful. You cannot control what others are doing. And so it was kind of a humbling look at my unpower. Look at how not powerful I was when it comes to my voice and speaking my truth, and doing all of that. So So what happened was, I remember I was trying to move, and he was, holding me back or doing all these things, swearing and constant screaming, and it was very, very degrading on the ears, degrading on the voice, his voice. And so then, this astrologer had a daughter who was Hispanic, and, she was really, really, constantly complaining at every turn, constantly being mean to others at every turn. And, and I know that this astrologer was into Daddy Yankee. It's kind of giving you a small hint as to who this is. And so she was going to see a concert for a couple of days, and that must have been a relief to her to see that concert, to get away from the situation. And so there was this, I kind of woke up. It was so interesting because I woke up like at 3:40 something in the morning, right in the midst of it. I woke up, went to the restroom, went back to sleep, and then the story sort of finished where he went to this gaming place where they serve food or whatever, and the police got him for his bad behavior because he was inconsistent being this ideal person, on social media and not acting right, to others, in real life. So two different people, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And so he was taken, and then they did all sorts of tests where they had a ball that just came rolling towards him. They probably had like shocks, like a taser, like police do, and then all of a sudden he transformed into this woman who then apologized for his actions. And I remember him saying, "If I ever have something to say, I'll walk away and then come back." And I think that's so important because, when you're just so angry, when you're so frustrated, when you're so annoyed, it's helpful to walk away before you just, react impulsively or say something really, really mean and aggressive in that sort of way. So I think that was very, very good. Of a quality to have when it comes to just walking away and not, and it was like, hallelujah, you're apologizing, you're owning your actions, you're self-aware. I think that this person, I kept saying in my head or out loud, this person wasn't self-aware. And so finally they apologized. And the person apologized, and so then it took getting in the police and going to jail, and the people that were there beforehand saying it's highly risky to go out because the police might get you, and so it took that to and like nothing would get through to him. I couldn't get through to him. This astrologer couldn't get through to him. Like nobody could get through to him and change him. Nothing could sink in for him to realize the error of his ways until he got, into the jail, and then turned around. Then he came back and said, "I'm sorry. I acted up." So it's just so interesting to me. But I think the lesson of the dream is not to, to just not react so impulsively and so angrily, argumentatively, and aggressively. Not to act so aggressively with what he was doing. With what was going on. And I think that there's kind of a moral to the story there. To really, really slow down and consider, to really emotionally regulate, Drop into your soul. Drop into your truth. Is this really what I need to express? What do I truly feel? Instead of needing to egoically prove myself and get control and be all powerful and this and that, how can I be sovereign within myself? And how can I have control over my own emotions without needing to dominate others or, control others in any stretch of the imagination? Anything like that going on. So it's a lesson in controlling your emotions. It's a lesson in doing what you feel is honestly right. And if you're throwing a fit and doing all those things, then you're not being honest with yourself. You think that you are, but you're in your ego. You're not being honest with yourself in that regard. So it is about being not, showing that shadow side of Aries, which is a sign that can be a child, immature, sort of, but it's fighting and doing all this. So I think that it's so symbolic of Saturn retrograde, because it's like you're slowing down. You're putting putting your foot on the brake. You're not keep moving forward. You're not keep aggressively pushing, acting all mean. You're slowing down. You're reflecting. You're reviewing your actions when you're in present. You get a chance to really review your actions, review what you did wrong, what you said wrong. And you look at that more deeply because you can't do anything to change them. You can't go out and control your life. You can't create a better life right now because you're in this situation. So it really, really asks you to get honest with yourself when you go to prison or jail. In the same way, not that you're going to go to prison or jail during Saturn retrograde, but in the same way Saturn retrograde asks you to slow down and pause and reflect. Before acting. Really, really consider your actions, consider your words really, really carefully. So I just think that story is so profound, and I think that it ties into Saturn retrograde so well. So it's so intuitively right on time that I had that dream when I'm doing this video. So, the timing of everything, my divine timing is really, really working out really, really well this year. I do have to say. So now, delving into the purpose of this video, which is your 12 sign readings, what you want to do is you want to see, Saturn retrograde in Aries is reflecting your commitments, reflecting your responsibilities, reviewing your boundaries, what you're devoted to, what your responsibilities are, and how sovereign are you being? How are you having your inner authority? Are you leading a life that's true and authentic to you? So what you want to do is you want to listen for your sun, moon, and rising sign. If you don't know your moon and rising sign, you can go to astro.com and find that information out for yourself. By putting your birth information in, by entering your birth information. Timestamps will be in this video, in the description. Anyway, if you've seen enough of my videos, you know how I roll with these horoscopes. It's not a 12-sign house horoscope. It's not that I talk about the themes of the signs. I talk about the characteristics and qualities of the signs and how they present themselves and how they act in their traits that make them unique. And so that's really how I operate these horoscopes. So anyway, delving into Aries first of all. So, Aries, what I want to remind you in a very, very compassionate way here is, before you initiate what you want to initiate, before you start your endeavors, your projects, your goals, what you want, all of a sudden, very, very suddenly, very, very just impulsively, like, I want to start this now. I want to begin this right here and right now. First of all, what you want to do excuse me, is you want to review them carefully. You want to review what you start, what you put into motion, what you initiate in a really, really careful way. Really, really evaluating it before you just set it into motion, before you just impulsively set it into motion. So look at it with scrutiny before you initiate it. Look at it with clarity, looking at it with fixity, looking at it with honesty, as opposed to just starting all these things very, very suddenly. Like Aries has a tendency to want to jump into things, go right into things, just suddenly, all of a sudden, out of impulse. And Saturn retrograde is saying, no, not so fast, put the brakes on it. Saturn retrograde is the not so fast energy. Like, you're pushing forward, you're committing your goals, but when Saturn goes retrograde, not so fast, slow down, review, reevaluate, and don't keep pushing forward like this. That's kind of the message that Saturn retrograde really, really gives to you. So, before you start all these things, slow down, look at all the facts, look at all the details, look at all the different sides of an issue, look at all the different facets of what's going on before you just jump in and rush in to starting this thing before acting out of impulse about it. Now, the next thing going along with that story that I was telling you at the beginning with the dream that I had, controlling yourself, being honest with yourself, and acting in an honest way. That either the kid in that dream was not acting in an honest way, because he was acting from his ego. The ego is not honest. Let's just get that very, very clear. The ego tries to make you think that it's honest, but it's really not. So, it's where, you are, controlling yourself, to emotionally regulate, to self-regulate, to control yourself so that you don't lose your temper, not act very, very temperamental, not, react and, throw a fit or, whatever kinds of thing, because Aries can be a child. Aries can act very, very childlike. Aries can be that sort of quality of being within itself. And so, how are you, needing to regulate your own emotions so that you don't become very, very aggressive or mean or whatever that way being, which is very, very negative for you. In that sense of the word, so to speak. So, then what have you started that hasn't gotten finished? Because Aries has a tendency to just start all these things without finishing them, without putting a bow on them, without completing these things. And so don't start all these things without seeing them through. Don't start all these things without finishing them, because Aries begins so much in its life and it doesn't commit fully to what it's doing, because it starts things that, the stimulation dies out, it wants to start something else, the stimulation dies out with this, and then it just keeps going on because it constantly needs more wood on the fire, constantly needs more fun, excitement, joy, stimulation, and it's never enough, and it's just very, very quick to move on. Aries is a sign that doesn't hold grudges. It just moves on. Downside of this is when some kind of spark of something dies out, you just want to move on to the next thing. But this is what we need to be very, very mindful of, to not, start so many things and not finish them. What you want to do is you want to show yourself. It's really about showing yourself how disciplined you can be, how committed you can be, how willing you can be to stay the course and commit to something. Actually have the discipline and follow through to commit to something and see it, fully as it should be, as it, really, really is. So it's kind of the message for Aries right here, right now. Now for Taurus, what work has to be done in your financial life? What finances do you have to make? What work you have to do? What kind of money do you have to earn? What financial job do you have to, put yourself into and commit to fully? And now is the time to knuckle down and make it happen for yourself. Now is the time to work really, really well, really, really efficiently, in your financial life. So to really, really focus on what you want to build, what you want to construct, what you want to achieve when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your money. And get serious about it and do it. Just do it. Putting in the work to make it happen. Sometimes it requires a little bit of a push to actually sit down and put in the work, put one foot in front of the other, and be dedicated, because Saturn demands that you put in the work. Saturn retrograde demands that you slow down and really, really look at where you haven't put in the work. So for you, Taurus, it's looking at your own finances, what you create and what you work for to create comfort and stability in your life. Now, before moving forward, do so slowly and steadily. Don't just push forward really, really impulsively. Don't just keep, nosing your head into something really just, out of impulse. But prepare before you ride out into the sunset. Prepare before you just go forward in that sort of full force mechanism, full force way. That you are moving through something and you're pushing through something in a way that is slow and steady. In a way where you are slowly and steadily, because slow and steady is your best trait, you move slowly and steadily, so plodding along really, really, able to, to be very, very methodical and, and steadfast in your result. And that comes from being slow and steady, like the tortoise wins the race because it paces itself. The hare runs so fast it runs out of energy, but the tortoise conserves its energy to get through that whole race, and it ends up winning because it ends up singing it out and committing to actually, getting that race, winning the race. And so can you slow down and move one foot in front of the other with your goals instead of rushing in? And then don't take anyone, don't let anyone take the peace over you running your own life and being self-sufficient, making your own comforts, making your money, living your own life, and being who you are, and working for what you want. Like, don't let anyone take that and steal that away from you. Do not let that happen, Taurus. Don't let that sort of get the better and steer you off course with whatever you're doing. Retain your peace, retain your sovereignty over how you wish to run your life. So then, Gemini. This is about not becoming flaky, not becoming non-committal. With the struggle with Gemini is not committing to things, not fixating, not really, really focusing your energy on something. and seeing it through to completion. That's the downside of that's the downside of Gemini energy. Is starting one thing and then starting another and then changing your mind and then starting one thing, going on a certain path. Oh, I want to change my mind to something else and starting something else. So that can be very, very negative for Gemini. The Gemini personality to have with them. So well, changing your mind makes you very, very highly adaptable, and you're very, very flexible towards change. You're very, very willing to change. How can you tap into the fixed quality of committing, seeing something through to completion, and you're really, really going on that full force and that full path? And when things aren't as stimulating as you'd like them to be, can you still stick it out? Can you still commit to whatever you're doing, whatever you're trying to commit to, whatever your job is, whatever your duty is, whatever you're committing to? Because Saturn demands the follow through, and Aries just is a sign that just gives up before it even begins. It starts something, then it moves on to something else. Gemini is kind of similar in that regard. So how can you prove that wrong, prove that quality wrong, and start something? And even when it gets to be a little bit less stimulating than you like to be, can you still stick it out, and can you still focus your energy and commitment? Because you have so much curiosity and enthusiasm and open-mindedness toward a lot of things. But how can you stay focused and stay really, really driven, and how beneficial it is to actually understand that you'll get way more out of something if you follow through with it, if you commit to one thing rather than just starting all these things and not committing to it. With whatever it is, can you, move through it willingly to see it through to completion? And then, you may spread yourself out too thin. You may start a lot of things, but can you control the impulse to just start a lot of things and not focus your energy on this particular direction? Focus your energy on this particular path, on where you're going in this regard, on the path right here, what the path is leading toward right here, where you're meant to go on this path, and instead, you are controlling the impulse to just start all these things and stop and not commit. So that's for Gemini. Now for Cancer. Where have you been emotionally reactive, or you've been overly moody? Because your emotions can get the better of you when somebody triggers you, when somebody does something that hurts you. When you get emotionally triggered, and somebody says something that hurts your feelings, or really, really rattles your cage, or really, pushes your buttons, and does all of that. And so you get really, really, annoyed at that, and really, really angry at that. And then some circumstances not how you want it. You have to clean up everybody. You have to take care of the home. You have to be the mother to everybody. Take care of everyone's emotional needs and put yourself aside for that. Like all these things, where you're not taking the time out for self-care, Cancer. Very, very important to take care of yourself. Take care of your own vessel. Take care of your own peace of mind. Take care of your own emotional well-being. Your own emotional way of being with who you are. And so, where have you been? Where have your emotional impulses gotten in the way of, not only, controlling your emotions and expressing them in a more mature way, in a more evolved way, in a more honest way, in a more authentic way, where you have been really, really just reacting from a place of anger and annoyance and frustration and all of these kind of things going on. And how have your emotional impulses, for instance, kept you from moving forward with your goals around the home, with what you want to achieve around the home or in your work situation or whatever it may be, whatever you have going on, and maybe you need to reevaluate what you want to start, what you want to initiate when it comes to your, when it comes to the home. If you want to start all these kind of things when it comes to projects and cleaning up the kitchen, cleaning up the house, cleaning up your space, organizing your space, making it a very, very nice, clean, orderly, very, very comfy and cozy space, because Cancer wants to create that those comfortable and cozy surroundings with its own life. It wants to create that. It wants to build that safe haven, because Cancer really, really cares and values its home, and it wants the best for its home, and it doesn't want to create a non-harmonious and non-beautiful. Really, really is into hygge and feng shui. It's been very, very, that Cancer would be very, very much into. I mean, there's a Libra Sun Virgo Moon who's really, really into feng shui that I know of. Who's Michelle Cromer, who can, if you're interested in feng shui, you can go to her YouTube channel. She posts every week or 2 weeks the feng shui tip of the week. She's an expert when it comes to having your home affect your state of being, your inner peace, your sense of groundedness, your sense of happiness and luck in your life. She really, really taps into the mystical energies of that, and it really, really, your space in your home does affect your state of being, your mindset, and everything like that. Go even when it comes to just a messy house, a really, really messy, surroundings with all the books and all the, the furniture and all the pictures on the wall, whatever, really, really makes you feel very chaotic and boxed in and really, really not peaceful state of mind. So once you clear out and organize and get rid of the stuff that you don't need, you feel better. And I think that you'll find that with this, with this energy going on here, is, anything when it comes to projects around the home, where, when it comes to your progress, you're, we need to be grounded and be sovereign in your sense of self, living from an inside out sort of place, instead of allowing your emotions to get the better of you when it comes to what you want to move forward with, what you want to push forward with, what you want to build when it comes to your home environment, when it comes to what you want in the home life, and how these things are keeping you from pushing forward. So over this 4.5 month period, this may need to be evaluated or reevaluated for you. Now, Leo, what structures are you building in your life, whatever they are, in whatever area of life that matters to you, in whatever area of life that you're building the structures? Making sure that they are centered around your heart and your soul, making sure that they are connected with your heart and soul energy, make sure they have your authentic stamp on them, and do they feel authentic to you? Do they feel real to you? Do they feel, do they resonate with you? Do they make sense for you in that regard? In that kind of way, like, do they really mean a lot to you in that kind of way, where, where these structures that you're building are heart-centered, are really, really meant for you on a heart, they light you up, because Leo is the passionate heart. Leo is the big, open-hearted, wide, loving energy. And so, when you're living from your heart, when you're living from your authenticity, you create your own reality. So you can reevaluate how you're living your life, and are you living it the way that you want to live your life? Are you creating the reality that you want to live, Leo? And sometimes creating that reality with what you're trying to create with your your heart and soul, with putting your heart and soul into it, may require a lot of discipline, a lot of commitment, a lot of willingness to stick it out and focus on it and be very, very driven towards it. And sometimes it may require you to knuckle down and do the work that's needed to create a life that is in alignment with your heart's desire, not with your ego dreams. And you are fully deserving of living a life in alignment with your heart's desire, Leo. No matter how much Capricorn or Virgo energy you may have in your chart, or whatever energy you have, and make sure you're having your chart that will hold you back from that, like you are fully worthy of living that life. And so can you really, really focus in and be disciplined and be dedicated to building that life that is in alignment with your heart, makes you feel proud of yourself, makes you feel proud of your own heart energy and your own heart and soul in that regard. So then for Virgo, this is about building stability that holds up for the long term, building stability that really, really makes sense in that regard. With your daily routines, with your house, with your home, with your whatever, and how are you creating a neat and orderly life? Because Virgo wants to create organization, Virgo wants to create structure, Virgo wants to have all the things in a row, all the details in a row, it wants everything to be neat and tidy. It's like order out of chaos. It looks at the details of how you're living your life, and it looks at purity of how you're living your life. So is what you are creating for your peace, or is it for somebody else? Is it for your own sense of peace, your own sense of well-being? Is it for your own sense of feeling good, feeling secure, and feeling grounded in your sense of self, and feeling calm, feeling very, very just serene with what is going on in your life? Creating this kind of life that is really, really earthly, very, very practical, very, very pragmatic, where you're taking care of the taxes, the house, paying off the house. I keep having this thought coming up over and over again with a couple of astrologers that I follow, doing whatever you're doing to create that life. And so, but what aspects of your life do you need to put a bow around and finish when it comes to your daily routines, your health, your habits, and creating stable routines, stable structures, and committing to those routines. Creating stability in your life is what you're ultimately being invited to accomplish with this. And what needs to be finished up, what needs to be completed, because Saturn retrograde is like tying up the loose ends before moving forward. So before you move forward on this race of your life, you're being invited, like this Saturn retrograde is a cosmic checkpoint. And so we're all being invited to reevaluate some area of our lives. We're being invited to restructure and repurpose some area of our lives based off of the 12 houses in the natal chart, based off of whatever area of life resonates for you in your own personal life, based off of your own personal natal chart, not isolating that one placement alone. But so what needs to be completed? What needs to be resolved? Now, Libra, instead of naturally relating to the other, instead of always relating to the others, always putting your eggs in the other's basket, and having conversations, and being very, very diplomatic, and balancing your energy out really, really well. And like Libra's a Venus-ruled sign, it wants to balance, it wants to harmonize, it wants to be a bridge builder, wants connection. It needs to share its life together with another. It's this shared energy, being connected, having someone to talk to, being very, very charmed and attracted to people. of needing that human connection, needing to talk, needing to exchange ideas. This has been very, very inherent in the moon's in Libra as I'm doing this video, and I'm really, really feeling very lucky, very, very emotionally secure today because I'm having my lunar return right now, and the moon is in my moon sign, so I'm feeling very, very secure and nurtured today with my own life. And so instead of doing this, can you insert yourself into the puzzle? Can you insert your own ideals, your own opinions, your own interests, your own values, your own beliefs into the conversation? Can you put what you want, what you desire into the conversation with what you're doing? Can you put that in there? Can you make that happen for yourself in your own life? That's the ultimate invitation of this time, is to do this. And don't look to the other person, where you start the relationship impulsively, where you begin the relationship just because I want to just begin the relationship. I want to just go into the relationship full force. I want to just, have a relationship at all costs. I want to have this relationship. I want to have that relationship. And really, really being very, just really thinking through the relationship before you started. Seeing what feels correct for you. Who feels correct for you? It's a time to evaluate if the person is really, truly meant for you. Are they really aligned with your values? Are they really aligned with what you want on a heart and soul level? Are they really aligned with you, with who you are truly? Or, or are they not? Who are they and how are they aligned? And so instead of just forcing yourself into the relationship and forcing a relationship, forcing a connection, it's like you're forcing peace on your nervous system. Like the nervous system is meant to be both up and down, feeling emotions, and then just settling down. It's kind of the same way with this. Like, stop forcing relationships, forcing yourself to always relate and talk and compromise and people please and do all of this. But see where you can put yourself first and stand up for yourself and be sovereign in your relationship, where you're choosing a partner who is right for you, choosing relationships that are right for you, choosing people that are truly in alignment with your own heart and soul and your own values. That's really, really important for Libra. Now, Scorpio. This is about pursuing your passions, and so can you take initiative with the things that fill you up with a strong sense of desire? What make you feel passionate? Can you begin the things, or can you maybe reevaluate and look at planning on beginning the things that give you a sense of desire, being encouraged and strong when it comes to pursuing your passions? Can you be courageous in this sense? And can you make choices that feel aligned with your passions? Whatever those passions are. Could be writing. Could be cooking. I know Scorpio is really passionate about cooking. Has been making content on YouTube since January 2010. And so her passion is cooking. I know that she's deeply, deeply passionate about cooking. I know it. I just know it. And now you can actually begin these things. Now you can make the choice courageously, and what passion feels right for you, what passion feels aligned with your heart and soul, and now's the time to start that thing. Whatever you're passionate about, time to go after that. Now, Sagittarius. There's a couple things with Sagittarius, and I want to discuss these things individually. This is kind of how they came out of the box. So, first of all, what are you held down by when it comes to responsibilities? What duty? What obligation? What responsibility is holding you down? Is keeping you trapped? Is keeping you stuck? And keeping you really, really not able to move forward? Not able to continue on the path? Not able to progress on where you want to go? So what responsibilities are stifling you from your forward movement, from your progress, Sagittarius? Maybe it's to your family, maybe it's to your spouse, maybe it's to whoever. Maybe these responsibilities are holding you back from your freedom, from your soul expansion, from exploring what you want to. And once you free yourself from these responsibilities, the next thing to look at is not rushing your expansion and growth, knowing that it's a marathon and not a sprint. Knowing full well this is the way that it is. You're not rushing this. That you're not rushing, just growing and learning and traveling and learning all these kind of things and going to just different places and learning this and exploring this and reading this book and traveling this place and talking to this person, doing all these kind of things. Like Sagittarius, it's very, very mutable. It goes to this place and does another. It's always on the move. It's very, very mobile. It's very, very, wanting movement and wanting action and wanting adventure and wanting novelty. So know that life, when it comes to you expanding as a soul, know that it is a marathon and not a sprint. Know that you have your whole life to expand, you have your whole life to grow, you have your whole life to take on whatever you want to. Your whole life to expand, to really, really live out a full life, at a full-fledged life, at a deeply personal life for you. And so, can you create more stability? And I think that once you understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint, you can be more present for your life. And you can break free from the dialogue of, I want to break free. I want to be free. I want to explore. I don't want to be tied down by anyone. I don't want to be tied down by anything. I don't want to be tied down by my responsibilities and my duties in that. But can you not be tied down? There's two extremes here. There's not being tied down and being limited by your responsibilities, by the things that hold you back, by the situations that hold you back from your freedom and expansion. Okay, there's also the other side that's like not always exploring and going to this place, going to that place, reading this book, reading that thing, and just sweating yourself out to them because, you only have so much time to live and I have to cram this in. Like, no. You have time to explore whatever you want to explore. Like, you have all the time in the world. That's what this is saying. There's a card from Colin Reed's Wisdom of the Oracle saying all the time in the world. I think that card really, really means a lot for Sagittarius in this regard. So, can you create more Can you be present? Can you be here and now? Can you be calm? Be centered? Expand your mind. Expand your soul right here where you are right now. Growing with where you are right here, right now. In the moment, Sagittarius. Not looking to somebody else, not looking to some other place or some other situation for you to grow and expand, but being present right here and right now. That's what you're ultimately invited to become. Now, Capricorn. This is not about, for Capricorn, it's not about pushing your way into things, forcing your way into things. It's about slowly and steadily and with patience going into things. But slowly and steadily moving into things with patience, with dedication, with putting one foot in front of the other as you're climbing up your mountain, achieving this goal. And not forcing away, like, I've got to get this done now, I've got to get this done at a certain time, I've got to, push and put all this hard work into it because I don't have time or whatever. Like, no, you do have time. And it is about, being realistic with yourself and saying, I don't have to rush. I don't have to rush. And I can, commit and do the work with my goals also. Because it's also Saturn. It's about doing the work with your goals, putting in the work with your own personal goals, with your own personal desires, and putting in that work. Doing that work, being dedicated, where you haven't put in the work and putting in that work, but in a slow and steady way. Doing with pazienza, patience, the Italian word for that. Being willing to understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint. What I talked to Sagittarius about. That you can have all the time to pursue these plans, pursue these desires. With all that you're planning to do, with whatever you're doing, really, and you can create the stability in your life, and this can be emotional stability, this can be financial stability, this can be stability in your career, whatever area of life makes sense and resonates for you. And you can do so in a way where you have all the time in the world to pursue your goals, to create the structures that you want, to not rush into your plans. Just slowly know that you're eventually going to get there, maybe not right now, but you have time. That's really, really important to know, is that you do have time. Now, Aquarius. This is about marching to the beat of your own drum and not following the desires of others, but doing your own thing. And Aquarius is so much about doing it, its own thing. Aquarius is so much about being independent, being free, being willing to do all this stuff very, very independently. Not conforming to society, not conforming to what others want. Being very, very sovereign in that regard. Aquarius does not want to follow and conform to what everybody else wants it to conform to. It can be so that it can be very, very independent, very, very sovereign with itself. Like, it can truly have those qualities. And, the first thing here is about being independent, doing your own thing. The next thing is not imposing your ideals and principles onto others. Because Aquarius has a tendency to be only focused and fixated and committed to its to what it believes and what it knows to be true, because it maps it out over a long period of time, because it does the research, because it spends a lot of time creating these ideas, because it pines it out for a long amount in book rights, you know. But it's about being open-minded. The high word Aquarius is open-minded to everyone and everything, and it's not just imposing and forcing and projecting its ideals onto others as these are superior, these are the only right ones, these are the best ones, I am more intelligent, I am more wise than you, as a need to prove yourself, as a need to not conform to others, in this rebellious quality of not wanting to interact, have conversations, be with your community, the need to, you isolate yourself from others with the superiority mindset of that your ideas are better than others, kind of an intellectual arrogance going on here. So, can you, it's okay to be sovereign with your own sense of truth, Aquarius. But can you kindly assert these ideals and these ideas? Can you kindly be open about them? Can you kindly be willing to express them with openness, with loose receptivity inside your intuition, inside your soul, towards others' ideas, others' perspectives, others' viewpoints, in addition to your own, instead of your own, don't worry, in addition. So really being assertive, being very, very forthcoming about what you want to say, what's your truth, but then also allowing space for your community, for everyone to share their voice as well. And then maybe there's a humanitarian project that you want to start and that you are reviewing right now. You may be in the process of reviewing this during Saturn retrograde. Maybe starting it after December, starting over slowly and steadily, not jumping into it, and during this 4-month period between July 26th and December 10th with Saturn retrograde in the sign of Aries. So what project do you want to start? Now's the time to either review that or begin it, but not forcing away and not rushing away, being very slowly and steadily with it. This may be a project for humanity, for the good of humanity, for the good of all. So then, Pisces. Pisces can also be very, very flaky of a sign. Very, very important with Pisces not to get distracted or in the dream state. Not to get off course, not to get swayed into all these other directions, but to commit to things and see them through. Commit to an endeavor, commit to a project, and see it through. It's very, very difficult for Pisces to do because they go wherever the wind takes them, and if their mood and if their ideals take them somewhere else, and they just go somewhere else, and they just very, very flowing, bending, and I just want to go over here, I want to go over there, I'm meandering, I'm beating around the bush, I'm not going directly to my target, but that can really, really hinder you from committing to something, focusing your energy on something, and seeing it through to completion, and actually focusing and fully committing to it. So now is the time to commit to that goal, commit to that project or that endeavor that you want in your life. Looking at the tendency, just float away, dream away. I've done this, so I want to stop and I just want to relax. I want to close my eyes. I want to escape to somewhere else. Looking at your impulse to escape, looking at where you're in the dreamland with your escapism, with whatever you use, like watching movies or reading books, or I don't know if that's an escape, or playing video games, or whatever you use to escape this reality. Because Pisces wants to escape because this reality is so draining to them, so very, very difficult for them. Because they're like sponges, they're empaths, they feel everyone's pain. They feel all the pain, and they feel all the happy emotions, they feel the full spectrum of emotions, and the most sensitive sign of Zodiac. So they feel the pain of everyone, of all the people, in in the world. They feel that pain. And so with the demands, with the pressures, and with the responsibilities of this daily reality can really, really drain them, can really, really make them feel exhausted, sad, depressed, out of sorts, very, very rejecting, not wanting to dissociate from this reality. So can you come back down to earth, commit to whatever you want, and maybe it's a creative thing. Maybe you want to create an album, or create a painting, or write a book or something based off your imagination. And can you take if you want to escape, then take all those ideas that you have from your imagination and your spiritual perspective, and be very, very practical and pragmatic about it, taking those dreams and making those dreams a reality, focusing your energy on taking all those dreams, all those ideas, and putting them down into creating your own book, or creating whatever you want to, with channeling those ideas and having a plan, having a structure, using all those ideas from a more spiritual, lofty place, which isn't bound to the 3D commitments that you have to be in reality with all the logic and with all the details and all that. But can you be practical and realistic enough to take all those visions and all those creative spiritual ideas and translate them down to earth? And maybe you're following your intuition and allowing it to lead you to a long-term goal to achieve. Maybe you have your intuition, and this feels right. This feels like the goal to achieve. This feels like where I want to go. This feels like what I want to accomplish in my life. This feels like what I want to knuckle down and sit down in front of my computer or my desk or whatever, and write this book. Say you're writing a book, for instance. You have this intuition like, oh, I really, really want to write this book. I have all these ideas for this story, for these characters, for all this. And it feels aligned with my soul. And now I am spending my time and energy, and I'm just allowing my creativity to flow onto the pages of the book, to flow onto the document of the book, the Word document. And I'm writing down all my ideas. I'm writing down all my ideas, creating a cohesive book, being creative, allowing my imagination to soar, and staying dedicated to it, staying focused and committed to it, and not veering off. Not losing focus, but staying the course of this project that you feel so passionately about, that you feel so driven towards, that you feel so this strong desire to accomplish, to achieve. Now's the time to focus in your energy, and see it through. So that's all I have to say for Pisces, really. All 12 signs. This has been a little bit over an hour. I hope that you enjoyed your reading, got something out of it. I will see you in the next episode of the Cosmic Sky Podcast, where I will be discussing the North Node in Aquarius and Saturn and Leo. I have been looking forward to do these videos for such a long time, and I'm going to finally get to them tomorrow. I'm so excited to delve into the North Node in Aquarius and South Node in Leo. astrology with you and for the 12 signs. Those videos are coming up next on the Cosmic Sky podcast. I can't wait to do those videos for you because, and for myself, I should say, because it's going to be a wild transit of leaving behind egoic qualities of vanity and arrogance, excessive pride, and needing external validation when you're not validating yourself, marching to the beat of your own drum, caring about community, really moving into that Aquarian energy of being an individual and then serving the community at the same time. That's essentially what it's about. And I'm going to be describing that in depth in tomorrow's collective look at the Aquarius North and Leo South Node, discussing that. A new scientific age will begin. That's kind of a title that I've been thinking of calling it, of titling it. And the nodes are going to change signs on the 28th of July, and I can't wait to discuss that with you. So tune in, subscribe, turn on your notifications for that video, because it is coming to your neighborhood very, very soon. Anyway, lots of love. I will see you back tomorrow, or whenever you tune into this podcast again. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and bye for now.